What if your most complex visits were being paid as basic ones, and no one on your team even noticed? That's not a hypothetical. It's happening right now. Welcome to Medical Money Matters. Today, we're talking about something that could be quietly draining your revenue, hurting your bottom line, and going completely unnoticed by your billing team. Automatic downcoding of high-level E&M visits. This is a new policy from Cigna, and they're not alone. Other major payers, including United Healthcare, are doing the same thing. And they're doing it in a way that makes it difficult to detect, hard to fight, and shockingly easy to miss. Welcome to Medical Money Matters, the podcast where you can find experts, answers, and resources so that you can achieve mastery over the financial and business aspects of your practice. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Jill Arena. I began my career in accounting and finance, and I have more than 30 years of experience running medical groups. I own and operate a national healthcare consulting and revenue cycle company, and I am the author of Physician Heal Thy Financial Self. In 2020, I co-founded the Physician Leadership Project, and in 2025, I released Physician's Edge, the first of its kind online business education for physicians. My passion is to increase financial and business literacy for physicians. Episode 148, Coded Out of Cash, How Cigna's new policy could be costing your practice, and what to do about it. What if your most complex visits were being paid as basic ones, and no one on your team even noticed? That's not a hypothetical. It's happening right now. Welcome to Medical Money Matters. Today, we're talking about something that could be quietly draining your revenue, hurting your bottom line, and going completely unnoticed by your billing team. Automatic downcoding of high-level E&M visits. This is a new policy from Cigna, and they're not alone. Other major payers, including United Healthcare, are doing the same thing. And they're doing it in a way that makes it difficult to detect, hard to fight, and shockingly easy to miss. If you're a physician, a practice administrator, a billing leader, anyone responsible for the financial health of your practice, this episode is critical listening. Let's start with what's happening. Cigna announced a policy that takes effect October 1, 2025. Under this new policy, any visit billed as a 99204, 99205, 99214, 99215, 99244, or 99245 may be automatically downcoded at the point of adjudication. No review of chart notes, no request for records, just downcoded, and reimbursed at a much lower level. If you're thinking that must be for providers who have a history of documentation problems, think again. This is a blanket policy, not targeted at outliers or flagged providers. And yes, it's raised a storm of opposition from national specialty societies, state medical associations, and even the American Medical Association. But that storm hasn't stopped it, and Cigna is far from the first to try this tactic. This is a big deal. Those higher-level codes, 99204, 5, 99214, and 5, represent complex, time-consuming visits. Think multiple comorbidities, extensive counseling, coordination of care. The visits where physicians are doing their most challenging work. Automatically reducing those codes to a lower level isn't just a minor reimbursement adjustment, it's a serious revenue loss. And here's the part that should really worry you. It's happening in a way that most practices won't even see. Payers are using denial codes that make it look like the claim was paid normally, but under the hood, the level has been downcoded. In most billing systems, this doesn't trigger a denial or a flag. It shows up as a contractual adjustment. So your billing staff sees it, assumes it's normal, and moves on. No one appeals. No one investigates. And your group just quietly eats the loss. Payers are counting on that. They're betting that your system won't catch the discrepancy, that your team is overworked, that your practice lacks the tools or the time to cross-check billed versus paid codes on a claim-by-claim basis. And, unfortunately, in many cases, they're right. But if you don't catch it, you don't fix it. And if you don't fix it, you're leaving money on the table, potentially tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars a year, depending on your volume. Let's zoom out for a moment. How did we get here? The short answer is, this isn't new. Downcoding is a payer tactic that's been used for years. Sometimes it's based on documentation review, sometimes it's algorithmic. But in recent years, we've seen a troubling shift away from record review and toward automatic downgrades based on patterns, statistics, and algorithm. The payers argue that they're just correcting overbilling. They point to bell curve data, saying that if you're billing more high-level codes than your peers, you're probably overcoding. But here's the problem with that logic. The bell curve is broken. You're listening to Medical Money Matters, a weekly podcast brought to you by Healthy Practices, a healthcare consulting and revenue cycle company dedicated to keeping our clients independent. Please reach out if we can do anything at all to support your practice. You can find more information online at healtheps.com. That's www.healtheps.com. Please follow or subscribe to get all future episodes downloaded as soon as they're released. For decades, providers have been undercoding their services. They've been picking lower levels than their documentation actually supports, usually out of fear or because they're unsure or because they don't have time to deal with appeals. That self-downcoding has irreparably skewed the data, pushing the bell curve lower. So now, when a clinician bills appropriately, they look like an outlier, even if their documentation is rock solid. And it's not just about documentation. The reality is, payers are doing this because it saves them money. They're capitalizing on a chaotic, fragmented billing environment. They know practices are busy. They know staff turnover is high. They know few clinics have time to review every payment detail on every claim. It's not personal, it's highly strategic. And it's dangerous. So let's talk about what this actually means for your practice in real terms. Imagine this: a level 5 new patient visit, 99205, might reimburse at $200 to $250 depending on your contracts. If it gets downcoded to a 99203, you might only receive $130 to $140. That's a $70 to $100 loss. One visit. Now, multiply that by dozens or hundreds of visits per month. The bigger your group, the higher the risk. The more you bill high-level codes appropriately, the more money you stand to lose from unjustified downcoding. And because these are often your most complex, time-consuming visits, they're also the ones your providers care most about getting right. So the question becomes, what can you do about it? Here are 5 critical steps your practice should take starting now. Step 1. Create reporting that compares billed CPT codes to paid CPT codes. This is your first line of defense. Don't rely on denial codes or system rejections. They're too easy to bypass. Instead, work with your practice management or billing system vendor to pull a report that identifies mismatches. If you billed a 99214 and got paid for a 99213, that should show up. If you billed a 99205 and got reimbursed at a 99203 rate, that should throw up a big red flag. This report needs to be run regularly, weekly if possible, or even daily depending on your volume. Make it part of your revenue cycle routine. Step number 2, implement batch appeal workflows. Appealing one claim at a time is inefficient, but if you can identify multiple downcoded claims from the same payer with the same pattern, you can appeal them in batches. Some billing systems support this. Others may require manual workflows or third-party tools. Either way, don't let the volume paralyze you. Batch processing is key. Step number 3, improve your documentation and train your clinicians. Let's be honest, documentation is still a challenge in many practices. Clinicians are busy, systems are clunky, notes are rushed. But if you want to protect your revenue, your documentation has to support your billing. That doesn't mean writing novels. It means accurate, complete, and specific notes that reflect the medical decision-making, time spent, and complexity involved. There are great resources out there to help with this. At Healthy Practices, we recommend Code Mastery, our online physician-to-physician training program that helps providers improve documentation without adding charting time or relying on copy-paste shortcuts. It's practical, efficient, and built by physicians who understand real-world workflow. Step number 4, outsource what you don't have time to manage internally. If your team is stretched thin, you don't have to do it all in-house. Consider outsourcing appeal reviews, denial tracking, or audit prep to a trusted partner. The cost of outsourcing is often far less than the revenue you'll recapture by catching these issues early. We've helped practices across the country identify six-figure revenue loss from downcoding, and we've helped them build systems to prevent it going forward and to recapture that revenue. Step number 5, talk about this problem internally and externally. Don't let it be the silent leak in your revenue cycle. Make downcoding a regular discussion point in your billing or operations meetings. Share trends with your clinicians. Let them know what's happening and how it affects your bottom line. When physicians understand the stakes, they're more likely to improve documentation. When administrators see the patterns, they can design better systems. Transparency creates accountability. And don't be afraid to talk to your payer reps either. Ask questions. Push back. Document every instance of inappropriate downcoding. File formal complaints. The more noise practices make, the more likely these policies will face scrutiny from regulators, medical associations, and eventually they will change. Because let's be clear, this isn't just a coding issue, it's a justice issue. In any other industry, when you send a bill for services rendered, you expect to be paid. In healthcare, the burden is on the clinician to justify every penny, again and again, even when the care was legitimate, necessary, and well documented. That's not sustainable. It's not fair. And it's not good for patients either. Clinicians should be focused on care, not on constantly defending their billing. Which brings us to the role of organizations like Healthy Practices and other consultancies. This is the kind of challenge we're built to solve. Our team has worked with dozens of groups navigating downcoding, from spotting the issue to building reporting, to training providers and designing appeals. We understand payer tactics, we speak their language, and we know how to create systems that protect your revenue without overwhelming your staff. Whether you need a documentation review, a billing audit, or just a better way to manage claim mismatches, we can help. And we want to, because you deserve to be paid fairly for the care you provide. We've already helped practices capture hundreds of downcoded claims they would have missed. That's money they were rightfully owed, and it's money we helped them get back. So if this issue is on your radar, or even if it's not yet, reach out. Let's build a plan. Let's protect your bottom line. To wrap up today's episode, here are the big takeaways. First, Cigna and other payers are downcoding high-level E&M visits automatically, and they're doing it without reviewing records and often without your knowledge. Second, these changes are being disguised through clever coding tactics that make the denials look like contractual adjustments, which don't create flags your billing team is likely to catch. Third, if you're not auditing billed versus paid CPTs, you may be losing revenue and not even know it. Fourth, you can fight back. With the right reports, the right appeals, better documentation, and strategic support, you can recover that lost revenue and protect future payments. And finally, you're not alone. This is happening across the country, but with proactive steps and a partner who understands the game, you can stay ahead of it. Thank you for joining me today on Medical Money Matters. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with your team. Let your colleagues know this issue is real and fixable. And if you'd like help building your response plan, reach out to us at Healthy Practices. We'd be honored to support you. Please keep fighting for the value of your care because you deserve to be paid for the work that you do. Until next time. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Medical Money Matters podcast. Before you go, let me ask you, are you ready to take your medical group's coding to the next level? Because that's where Code Mastery comes in. Code Mastery isn't just another coding program. It's the ultimate physician-to-physician training solution to maximize your revenue and empower your physicians with the skills they need to code confidently and win the coding game. From comprehensive high-octane training to actionable insights, Code Mastery gives you the edge you've been looking for. Don't leave money on the table. Visit healtheps.com/codemastery to learn more and take control of your coding today. Let's transform your practice's financial future starting now. See you next time on the Medical Money Matters podcast.